Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Europa Station, watching Jupiter's massive form dominate the horizon. After 15 years of studying the moon's subsurface ocean, she thought she'd seen everything this frozen world had to offer. She was wrong. "Commander, you need to see this." Dr. James Rodriguez's voice crackled through her comm unit. His usual calm demeanor was replaced by barely contained excitement. Sarah made her way through the station's curved corridors to the primary research lab. The station's small crew of 30 had gathered around the main holographic display, their faces illuminated by its ethereal blue glow. "Talk to me, James," she said, studying the strange patterns floating in the display. The physicist gestured to the complex mathematical formulas surrounding a pulsing geometric shape. "We detected this quantum signature emanating from the cryogenic vents in Section 7. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. The energy patterns suggest it's artificial." "Artificial?" Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying someone put this here? Or something?" James manipulated the display, expanding the data streams. "The quantum mechanics involved are centuries beyond our current understanding. This isn't human technology, Commander, and it's not natural." Before Sarah could respond, the station's emergency alert system blared to life. Red warning lights pulsed through the lab as Chief of Security Maya Patel's voice came over the speakers. "Commander Chen to the communications center immediately. Priority 1. Sarah found Maya standing rigid before the main communications array, her dark skin ashen. "What is it, Chief?" "We just intercepted this transmission. It was heavily encrypted, but AI decoded enough to understand the basics." Maya's fingers flew over the controls, and a harsh alien language filled the room. The computer's translation followed. "Primary scout successful. Defense capabilities minimal. Species designation: human. Technological level: 3. Initiate invasion protocols. Main fleet departure in standard cycle." Sarah felt the blood drain from her face. "Source: edge of the Kuiper Belt. Whatever sent this, it's already gone." Maya pulled up the sensor logs. "But there's more. The quantum signature Dr. Rodriguez discovered. It started pulsing the moment this transmission was sent. They're connected somehow." Sarah's mind raced. Their discovery wasn't just evidence of alien life. It was a warning. "Get me a secure line to Earth Defense Command." "And James." She activated her comm. "I need everything you have on that quantum signature. Now." Within hours, Europa Station became the center of humanity's most critical scientific and military operation. As teams of researchers and military personnel poured in through emergency shuttles, Sarah coordinated with Earth's hastily assembled Defense Council. "The timing can't be coincidental," she explained to the grim-faced council members on her screen. "This quantum device was placed here, perhaps millions of years ago, to warn us. The question is, warn us about what?" Admiral Victor Torres, the newly appointed head of Earth Defense Command. Sarah spent countless hours in the lab with James, watching as humanity's understanding of physics itself was rewritten. The quantum device wasn't just showing them new weapons, it was showing them how to bend reality itself. "It's beautiful," James whispered one night, as they successfully replicated a tiny fraction of the device's capabilities. A small sphere of altered space hung in their test chamber, defying every known law of physics. "And terrifying." Sarah nodded, understanding completely. The power they were unlocking could save humanity, or destroy it. The weight of that responsibility pressed down on her with every passing day. As their first month of preparation drew to a close, Sarah stood once again at the observation deck. Jupiter's swirling storms seemed to mirror the turbulent future facing humanity. They had made incredible progress, but would it be enough? The quantum device pulsed in its chamber below, a gift from an unknown civilization that had seen humanity's potential and chosen to give them a chance. Now they had to prove they deserved it. Time was running out. Somewhere in the dark between the stars, the Kraxan fleet was coming, and humanity's future hung in the balance. 3 months after the discovery on Europa, Earth's largest underground facility buzzed with activity. 2 kilometers beneath the Atacama Desert, Project Prometheus had transformed from a desperate plan into humanity's best hope for survival. Commander Sarah Chen walked through the Quantum Engineering Lab, now relocated from Europa to this secure facility. The same quantum device that had warned them of the Kraxan threat pulsed in a reinforced chamber, its enigmatic patterns now partially decoded thanks to months of relentless work. The latest simulation results are promising, Dr. Rodriguez reported, his holographic display showing cascading equations. We've achieved stable quantum field generation at 30% power, the theoretical applications error. An alarm cut through the facility. Not the blaring emergency signal they'd grown accustomed to during tests, but the deep, resonating tone that indicated a breach in their orbital defense network. Command Center. Sarah barked into her comm unit as she and James sprinted through the corridors. Status report. They burst into the command center to find Admiral Torres already there, his weathered face illuminated by the massive tactical display. Unknown vessel just appeared at the edge of our lunar defense grid, he reported. Doesn't match any known Kraxan configurations. The vessel was small, barely larger than a shuttle. It had managed to slip through their early warning systems using some form of advanced stealth technology. But instead of pressing its advantage, it remained stationary, broadcasting on all frequencies. Message incoming, announced Lieutenant Kira Patel, Maya's sister who had transferred from Europa with them. It's English. A voice crackled through the speakers, hesitant but clear. I am Zextal, former chief quantum architect of the Kraxan Empire. I seek asylum, and I bring knowledge that may save your world. The next 12 hours were a blur of security protocols, quantum scans, and tense negotiations. Finally, Sarah found herself face to face with her unexpected visitor. Zextal's appearance was both alien and oddly familiar, humanoid in basic form, but with crystalline growths that seemed to pulse with internal light. Your quantum experiments drew my attention, Zextal explained, gesturing to the mathematical models displayed around them. Few species grasped these principles so quickly. The predecessors chose well when they left you their gift. The predecessors. James leaned forward. The civilization that left us the quantum device. They seeded such devices throughout the galaxy, hoping to give younger species a chance against the Kraxan. Zextal's crystalline features shifted in what might have been sadness. My people were not always destroyers. We were scholars once, seekers of knowledge. But power corrupts, and quantum mastery corrupts absolutely. Sarah studied their visitor carefully. Why help us? Because I have seen too many worlds die. Because the Empire must be stopped. And because your species has done something I thought impossible. You've taken the predecessor's gift and improved upon it. James and Sarah exchanged glances. They had indeed made modifications to the quantum principles, adapting them in ways that seemed to surprise even Zextal. The alien scientist had spent the last several hours reviewing their work, crystalline features pulsing with what they now recognized as excitement. Your innovations in quantum field stability are elegant, Zextal continued. But the Empire knows you're developing quantum weapons. They've accelerated their plans. The main fleet will arrive in less than 2 months. The news hit like a physical blow. They'd been counting on 5 more months of development time. Sarah's mind raced through contingencies, but Zextal wasn't finished. I can help you complete your weapons, but you must understand what you're truly creating. These aren't simply tools of destruction. They're weapons that can unravel the quantum fabric of space-time itself. Used improperly, they could tear reality apart. Over the next weeks, Project Prometheus evolved at an astronomical pace. Zextal's knowledge, combined with humanity's innovative approaches, produced breakthroughs that would have taken decades to achieve otherwise. But with progress came new ethical dilemmas. The quantum cascade effect could wipe out their entire fleet. Admiral Torres argued during one tense meeting. We need every advantage we can get. and risk creating an expanding quantum tear that could swallow our solar system. Sarah countered, "We need precision, not just power." Zextal observed these debates with growing respect. The alien had expected humans to grab blindly at any advantage, any weapon, no matter the cost. Instead, they struggled with the moral implications, even as they pushed the boundaries of science. The breakthrough came on a quiet evening, as Sarah watched James and Zextal work. The human physicist and alien quantum architect had developed an unusual friendship, each approaching problems from radically different perspectives that somehow complemented each other perfectly. "Look at this," James called her over, pointing to a new simulation. "If we combine our quantum field stabilization with Zextal's temporal manipulation principles." The simulation showed a weapon that could create precisely controlled quantum disruptions, powerful enough to disable Kraxan ships without risking widespread spatial damage. It wasn't the planet killer that some military leaders wanted, but it was something better, a way to defend Earth without becoming the monsters they were fighting. As the prototype took shape, Sarah received a priority alert from their deep space monitoring network. The Kraxan fleet had entered the Oort cloud. Their 8 months had just become 6 weeks. She looked at the quantum weapons slowly materializing in their main engineering bay, a testament to what humans and aliens could achieve together. They had one chance to get this right, one chance to prove that humanity deserved its place among the stars. The final phase of Project Prometheus had begun. The first attack came without warning. A Kraxan battle group dropped out of quantum space near Mars, their ships crystalline and deadly. Earth's early warning systems barely had time to sound the alarm before the aliens opened fire. In the Atacama Facilities Command Center, Sarah watched the tactical display with growing horror. The Kraxan ships moved with impossible precision, their weapons tearing through Mars' orbital defense platforms like paper. "This is just a probing force," Zextal observed, crystalline features pulsing rapidly. "They're testing your defenses, analyzing response patterns. The main fleet will use this data to optimize their attack vectors." Admiral Torres barked orders into his comm unit as Earth's defense fleet engaged the enemy. Conventional weapons proved nearly useless against Kraxan shields, but they weren't trying to win, just survive long enough to gather data of their own. "Their quantum field signatures," James muttered, studying the sensor readings. "They're not as advanced as we expected." "Zextal, are they using an older generation of defensive technology?" The alien scientist's features flickered with surprise. "Yes, the Empire rarely deploys its latest innovations with scout forces. They don't want to risk revealing their true capabilities." Sarah's mind raced. "Then we have an advantage they don't know about. Lieutenant Patel, get me a secure line to the Titan defense platform." Humanity's most advanced space station had been retrofitted with a prototype of their new quantum weapons. It wasn't fully tested, but they were running out of options. The Kraxan ships had already destroyed 3 Earth vessels and were pushing toward the inner system. "Titan platform, this is Commander Chen. Authorization code Delta 79. Prepare the QDS for deployment." "Commander," Admiral Torres warned, "that weapon hasn't completed its trial phase. We don't know if—" "We know it works," Sarah cut him off. "We just don't know for how long. But right now, we need to show them we're not as helpless as they think." The quantum disruption system powered up, its energy signature carefully masked by the background radiation from Saturn. The Kraxan ships, focused on their methodical advance toward Earth, didn't notice the threat until it was too late. A beam of twisted space-time lanced out from Titan, catching the lead Kraxan vessel in its field. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself seemed to hiccup. The crystalline ship's quantum shields flickered and failed, its hull aging centuries in seconds. "Direct hit," Kira reported, her voice tight with excitement. "Target's quantum field has collapsed. Their systems are failing across the board." The remaining Kraxan ships reacted instantly, their formation breaking apart as they tried to identify this unexpected weapon. A second shot from Titan missed, But it didn't matter. The message had been sent. Humanity could hurt them. They're retreating, Torres announced as the alien vessels disappeared into quantum space. All units, stand down to Condition 2. Damage assessment. The reports came in quickly. Earth had lost 5 ships and 8 orbital platforms. But they had disabled a Kraxan vessel, something few species had ever accomplished. More importantly, they had data. Real combat data on Kraxan capabilities and weaknesses. "We got lucky," Sarah said in the debriefing hours later. "They underestimated us, and we had surprise on our side. Neither advantage will help us against the main fleet. But we've proven the quantum weapons work," James argued. "With Zextal's help, we can improve them, build more. It won't be enough." The alien scientist's interruption silenced the room. "The Empire will analyze every aspect of this encounter. They'll adapt their shields, modify their attack strategies. And the main fleet, Zextal's crystals dimmed. They carry weapons that can crack planets." Sarah studied the tactical displays showing the disabled Kraxan ship, now under heavy guard in high Mars orbit. "Then we need to think bigger. This isn't just about weapons anymore. It's about changing the rules of the game entirely." She turned to James and Zextal. "The quantum principles we've been studying, you said they could be used to manipulate space-time itself. What if we're thinking too small? Instead of targeting their ships, what if we could affect the space they travel through?" James' eyes widened as he caught her meaning. "You want to create a quantum field around the entire solar system." "Impossible," Zextal started to say, then paused. The aliens' crystals pulsed rapidly as calculations ran through their quantum-enhanced mind. "Unless your innovations in field stability, combined with the predecessor's temporal mechanics." They worked through the night, running simulations and testing theories. What they were attempting had never been done before, creating a quantum defense system on a solar system scale. The power requirements alone were staggering, but Sarah refused to give up. As dawn broke over the Atacama Desert, Admiral Torres received word that the Kraxan main fleet had accelerated again. They would reach Earth in less than 3 weeks. The quantum device that had started everything pulsed in its chamber, its pattern somehow more urgent now. Humanity had bloodied the Empire's nose, but the real fight was about to begin. And they needed more than weapons. They needed a miracle. Sarah looked at her unlikely team. A human physicist who could see patterns in quantum chaos, an alien defector who chose conscience over loyalty, and the combined will of a species that refused to go quietly into the night. They had 3 weeks to rewrite the laws of physics. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun. The massive quantum arrays rose from the lunar surface like crystalline forests, their structures pulsing with barely contained energy. From her vantage point in the command shuttle, Sarah watched as the last array came online, completing the network that would either save humanity or fail spectacularly. "Power fluctuations are still too high," James reported, his voice tense. "If we can't stabilize the quantum field, the entire network could collapse when we activate it." 17 days had passed since their first victory against the Kraxan scout force. 17 days of non-stop work, pushing the boundaries of science and engineering beyond anything humanity had thought possible. The captured Kraxan vessel had provided valuable data, but implementing their solar system-wide defense plan was proving more challenging than anyone had anticipated. "The problem isn't the power source," Zextal observed, studying the readouts. "It's the synchronization. The quantum field must be perfectly aligned across millions of kilometers of space. Even a microsecond delay between arrays could tear holes in the fabric of space-time." Sarah rubbed her temples, fighting exhaustion. They'd installed quantum arrays across the solar system, on Luna, Mars, several asteroids, and even Europa, where it all began. Each array was a marvel of human engineering and alien technology, designed to create a quantum barrier that would disrupt the Kraxan fleet's ability to maintain quantum coherence. But getting them to work together was proving nearly impossible. "Commander," Kira's voice came through the comm. "Priority message from Deep Space Array 7. The Kraxan fleet. They're accelerating again. New arrival estimate is 68 hours. The news hit like a physical blow. They'd just lost another day of precious preparation time. Sarah looked at her team's tired faces, seeing her own fear and determination reflected back. What about the quantum entanglement solution? She asked James. Could that solve our synchronization problems? Theoretically, yes, he replied. But we've never attempted quantum entanglement on this scale. The energy requirements alone would be less than what we'll need to power the arrays anyway. Zextal interrupted, crystals pulsing with sudden excitement. And if we modify the original predecessor device's temporal mechanics, the alien scientist began rapidly inputting calculations. A new simulation appeared on their screens. It showed the quantum arrays linked through a complex web of entangled particles, allowing them to operate in perfect synchronization, regardless of the vast distances involved. It could work, James whispered, eyes wide. But we'd need to reconfigure every array in the system, with only 68 hours left. Then we better get started, Sarah said, already moving toward the shuttle's cockpit. Admiral Torres, I need every available engineer and every transport we have. We're about to attempt the largest quantum engineering project in human history, and we're doing it in less than 3 days. What followed was a masterpiece of human logistics and determination. Teams worked around the clock, modifying quantum arrays across the solar system. Every ship capable of spaceflight was pressed into service, ferrying personnel and equipment. The Atacama facility became a command center coordinating thousands of people working toward a single goal. But as the deadline approached, problems continued to mount. A solar flare damaged 2 arrays on Mercury, requiring emergency repairs. The Martian arrays suffered unexplained power fluctuations that threatened to destabilize the entire network. And through it all, the Kraxan fleet drew closer, their massive ships now visible to Earth's most powerful telescopes. 48 hours before the estimated arrival, Sarah stood in the Lunar Command Center, watching the latest test results with growing concern. They'd achieved quantum entanglement between most of the arrays, but maintaining stability was proving difficult. The power core is overheating again, one of the engineers reported. We can't maintain the field for more than a few minutes without risking a cascade failure. A few minutes might be all we need, James argued, if we can disrupt their quantum fields even briefly when they arrive. No, Sarah's voice was firm. A temporary disruption won't be enough. We need a sustained field that can protect the entire system. Keep working on the stability issues. As she turned to leave, Zextal stopped her. There might be another way, the alien scientist said quietly, but it would require a sacrifice. The plan Zextal outlined was audacious and terrifying. It would require channeling the full power of the predecessor device, the same device that had warned them of the Kraxan threat, into the array network. The energy release would destroy the ancient artifact, but it might provide the quantum stability they desperately needed. The device was meant to save humanity, Zextal explained. Perhaps this is how it was always meant to do so. Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the main display, dozens of new contacts appeared at the edge of their sensor range. Multiple quantum space ruptures detected, Kira announced, her voice steady despite the fear evident on her face. Kraxan's signatures confirmed. Sir, it's not just their main fleet. They've brought everything. The tactical display showed hundreds of Kraxan warships emerging from quantum space, their crystalline forms catching the distant sunlight. At their center was a vessel larger than anything humanity had ever seen, the Kraxan flagship, bristling with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. They were out of time. Sarah looked at the quantum device that had started everything, still pulsing with its ancient power. Then she looked at her team, human and alien alike, who had worked miracles to give Earth a fighting chance. Begin the integration sequence, she ordered. And may whatever gods are watching forgive us if we're wrong. As the predecessor device was connected to the array network, its pulse quickened like a heartbeat building to a crescendo. Humanity's last hope lay in the marriage of ancient wisdom and modern desperation, about to be tested against the greatest threat Earth had ever faced. The final battle for humanity's survival was about to begin. The Kraxan flagship's first shot split the darkness between Mars and Earth, a lance of pure quantum energy that could have shattered a continent. Instead, it met something unprecedented, a barrier of twisted space-time that caught the energy and scattered it across dimensions. In the Lunar Command Center, Sarah gripped her console as the entire network of quantum arrays thrummed with power. The predecessor device's energy coursed through their defenses, its ancient wisdom combining with human innovation in ways they barely understood. Quantum field holding at 87%, James reported, his voice tight with concentration. The entanglement is stable, for now. On the tactical display, the Kraxan fleet spread out in attack formation. Hundreds of crystalline warships moved with deadly precision, probing humanity's unexpected defenses. Their initial confidence had given way to cautious tactics. They'd never encountered resistance quite like this. They're adapting their quantum frequencies, Sextol warned, crystals pulsing rapidly. The Empire's ships are capable of synchronized attacks that could overwhelm localized sections of our barrier. As if to prove the point, dozens of Kraxan vessels fired simultaneously, their beams converging on a single point in the quantum field. Alarms blared as the barrier strained under the assault. Rerouting power from secondary arrays, Kira announced, her fingers flying over her controls. Field strength restored, but we can't take many hits like that. Sarah watched as the massive Kraxan flagship moved forward, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight in ways that seemed to defy physics. "They're not just testing us anymore," she said. "They're preparing for a full assault." The attack, when it came, was beautiful in its terrible symmetry. The entire Kraxan fleet moved as one, their weapons creating a web of quantum energy designed to shred humanity's defenses. The barrier held, but the strain on their systems was enormous. Power fluctuations in the Mars arrays, an engineer reported. The quantum entanglement is becoming unstable. The predecessor device is overloading, James added, his screen showing cascading warning signals. We're losing coherence across the network. Sarah felt the weight of history pressing down on her. Everything humanity had built, every advancement they'd made, hung in the balance. But as she watched the Kraxan fleet coordinate another attack, she saw something everyone else had missed. They're not just synchronized, she realized aloud. They're quantum linked. Their entire fleet is operating on the same quantum frequency. She turned to Sextol. Is there any way to use that against them? The alien scientist's crystals flared with sudden understanding. Yes. If we invert our quantum field's phase and pulse it through their link, it would create a cascade effect through their entire fleet. James finished, already making the calculations. But we'd have to drop our barriers completely for at least 30 seconds to rebuild the field with an inverted phase. And if we time it wrong, Earth will be defenseless, Kira added. Sarah looked at the tactical display, where the Kraxan fleet was gathering energy for what would surely be their final assault. They had one chance to turn the Empire's greatest strength into a fatal weakness. "Admiral Torres," she called over the comm. "I need every conventional weapon we have ready to fire the moment our quantum barrier drops. We can't stop their attack, but we can make them focus on point defense for 30 seconds. "Understanding, Commander," Torres replied. "All units prepare for synchronized barrage on my mark." Sarah took a deep breath, looking at each member of her team. "James, begin quantum field inversion calculations. Sextol, I need the exact frequency of the Kraxan fleet's quantum link. Kira, coordinate with all arrays for emergency power rerouting. This is going to be close." The Kraxan flagship's crystal surface began to glow with gathered energy, preparing to deliver a blow that would shatter any normal defense. The Empire had never failed to conquer a world, never faced a species that could truly challenge them. Until now. Barrier dropping in 3, 2, 1. The quantum field collapsed just as the Kraxan fleet fired. Simultaneously, every human weapon in the solar system opened up, filling space with a wall of missiles, railgun rounds, and energy beams. The Kraxan ships were forced to divide their attention, their perfect formation wavering for crucial seconds. "Field inversion complete," James shouted, rebuilding barrier with new phase. Now. The reconstructed quantum field caught the Kraxan fleet at their most vulnerable moment, its inverted energy pulse traveling through their quantum link like a virus through a neural network. Ship after ship lost quantum coherence, their crystalline structures aging centuries and seconds as temporal feedback cascaded through their systems. The mighty flagship, source of the quantum link that had made the Empire unstoppable, became their undoing. Its massive form shuddered as time itself rebelled against its existence, entropy claiming centuries of advancement in moments. "Multiple quantum field collapses detected," Kira reported, her voice filled with awe. "Kraxan fleet is. They're breaking apart." Sarah watched as the greatest armada in known space dissolved before her eyes, their own quantum mastery turned against them by human ingenuity and desperation. The few ships that survived were already retreating, their quantum signatures erratic and failing. The predecessor device gave one final pulse before going dark forever, its purpose finally fulfilled. In its last moments, it had helped humanity not just survive, but triumph. Hours later, as cleanup operations began across the solar system, Sarah stood at the lunar observation dome with James and Zextal, watching Earth rise over the horizon. "The Empire will never be the same," Zextal said quietly. "You didn't just defeat them, you showed them they could be defeated. Other species will rise up now, knowing it's possible." "And humanity?" James asked. "Where do we go from here?" Sarah watched as repair ships moved between their quantum arrays, monuments to what humans could achieve when pushed to their limits. The technology they'd developed, the barriers they'd broken, had changed everything. "We go to the stars," she said simply, "but not as conquerors like the Kraxan. We go as explorers, innovators, and protectors." She turned to her friends, human and alien alike. "The predecessors gave us a gift, not just of technology, but of choice. They believed we could face this test and emerge not just stronger, but wiser." Beyond the dome, the quantum arrays still pulsed with energy, now permanently entangled across the solar system. Humanity had built something unprecedented, a shield that could protect their home while they took their first real steps into the cosmic community. They had faced extinction and emerged transformed, ready to write their own chapter in the grand story of the universe. And somewhere, perhaps, the predecessors were watching, knowing their faith in humanity had been justified. The dawn of a new age had begun.